Hi, I am Miles Porter, and if you are awake right now, that is all right. It happens to the best of us. Sometimes we find ourselves staring at the ceiling when we would rather be drifting off. That is why I am here, to keep you company for a little while. Tonight, I thought we might take a train ride together. Not just any train ride. We are going to experience something quite special. The first morning of a brand new year, January 1st, aboard the Empire Builder somewhere in Montana. There is something about the first day of a new year that feels different from any other day. The world seems quieter, gentler, like everyone decided to sleep in at the same time, and the earth itself is taking a long, slow breath. You are in a Superliner roomette. It measures about 3.5 feet by 6.5 feet. That is not very big, but somehow it is exactly the right size. The bed you are lying on was once 2 seats that faced each other. Your sleeping car attendant converted them for you last night after the celebrations wound down and the other passengers began to yawn. The sheets are clean and white. The blanket is a bit scratchy, but in a comforting way, like a sweater your grandmother might have knitted. The pillow has that particular train pillow flatness, which sounds like a bad thing, but is actually quite nice when you are rocking gently back and forth. Because that is what is happening right now. The train is moving. You can feel it in your bones. A gentle sway, left to right, like being in a cradle, like being held by something much larger than yourself. The wheels are making their sound against the tracks, that rhythmic clicking. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack. It is one of the most soothing sounds in the world. The pattern is predictable. Your brain does not have to work to figure out what comes next. It can relax. Let me tell you where we are. It is still dark outside your window. Not the deep black of midnight, but something softer. A very dark blue, perhaps. The kind of darkness that knows dawn is coming, but is in no hurry to get there. The train left Whitefish, Montana a few hours ago. Now we are climbing through the area along the southern border of Glacier National Park, following the middle fork of the Flathead River. For the next stretch, the scenery will look much as it would have more than 100 years ago. That is a comforting thought. The same mountains, the same river, the same pine trees, though a different generation of them. Time moves differently out here. The Great Northern Railway built this route back in the early 1890s. They had to find a way through the Rocky Mountains, and they found Marias Pass. It crosses the Continental Divide at 5,213 feet. That sounds high, but it is actually the lowest crossing of the Rockies between Canada and central New Mexico. The trains that came before us, carrying passengers in wooden coaches with oil lamps, they climbed this same grade. I find that reassuring. All those people sleeping in their berths over 100 years ago, waking up to these same mountains, looking out at the same river. The window beside your bed is cold to the touch. If you reach out and press your fingers against it, you will feel the Montana winter on the other side. It is probably well below zero out there. In January, the temperatures in this part of the country can drop to 30 below, sometimes even colder. But here in your roomette, you are warm. The heating works well on these Superliner cars. Outside, the snow is deep. Banks of it line the tracks, piled higher than refrigerators. The summer cabins along the route look like gingerbread houses buried in frosting. Their roofs have 3, 4, maybe 5 feet of snow on them. They look cozy, asleep, hibernating until spring. The middle fork of the Flathead River is partially frozen. You cannot see it in the darkness, but it is there, just off to your left. In the summer, the water runs glacial blue, a color that seems impossible until you see it. Right now, ice is creeping in from the banks, and the water that still flows is dark and cold and ancient. But you do not need to think about the cold. You are inside. You are safe. The train is carrying you. Let me tell you about what happened last night. The train was in Whitefish when the clock struck midnight. Some passengers gathered in the Sightseer Lounge, that beautiful car with windows that wrap up toward the ceiling. They watched the snow fall and listened to bells from town. Someone had a bottle of champagne. Someone else had sparkling cider. There were quiet toasts. "Happy New Year," they said. "Happy New Year." Then, slowly, people drifted back to their rooms. The excitement faded into tiredness. The good kind of tiredness. The kind that comes after waiting for something and finally seeing it arrive. Now it is maybe 5 or 6 in the morning, the first morning of the new year. Most people are still asleep. The train is quiet except for its sounds, the wheels, the slight creak of the car as it rounds a curve, the hum of the heating system. You do not have to get up. There is nowhere you need to be. The dining car will serve breakfast later, but not yet. For now, you can just lie here, listen, feel the gentle rocking. The train passes through a tunnel. The sound changes. The clicking of the wheels echoes off the close rock walls. It is louder, but also somehow muffled, like pulling a blanket over your head. Then you are through, and the sound opens up again, and you know you are back in the wide world. The railroad engineers built tunnels to keep the tracks safe from avalanches. When snow builds up on the mountains above, it can come crashing down without warning. The tunnels protect the trains. I like knowing that. It makes me feel like part of something continuous, something that has been working for a very long time. The sky is beginning to lighten, just barely. The deep blue is softening to something more like indigo. If you watch carefully, you might be able to see the silhouette of the mountains starting to separate from the sky. Those are peaks in the Lewis Range. They are part of the area around Glacier National Park. The train rounds a curve, and you feel yourself shift slightly on the mattress. Not enough to wake you if you were asleep, just enough to remind you that you are moving, that the world is passing by outside. I should tell you about fresh starts. Researchers have found that people are more likely to make positive changes in their lives at certain moments. The start of a new year, a birthday, the beginning of a new month or week. These are called temporal landmarks. They create a sense of separation between our past selves and our future potential. Right now, on this first morning of the new year, you have a blank page in front of you. Whatever happened last year, it is behind you. Whatever you want to happen this year, it is still possible. That is the theory anyway. But I think there is something simpler going on too. Sometimes we just need permission to rest, to let go, to stop carrying whatever we have been carrying. The train gives you that permission. You cannot drive anywhere from here. You cannot walk to a meeting. You cannot fix anything, or improve anything, or accomplish anything. The train is moving, and you are on it. And there is nothing to do but lie here and feel the rocking and listen to the wheels. That is a gift. The heating system clicks on again. You hear the fan whirring softly. Warm air moves through the roomette. Your toes, which might have gotten slightly cold during the night, are warming up again. Outside, the first light is touching the mountaintops. Not sunlight yet, just the reflection of a sun that is still below the horizon. The snow on the peaks is starting to glow, faintly, like the mountains have their own internal light source. The color is something between pink and gold. Mountaineers call it alpenglow. It happens in the minutes before sunrise, when the light has to travel through so much atmosphere that only the longest wavelengths make it through. The reds and oranges and pinks, the blues and greens get scattered away. You can see it through your window if you turn your head slightly. The peaks catching the light while the valleys are still in shadow. It will not last long, a few minutes at most. But for those few minutes, the mountains look like they are on fire. A cold fire, a gentle fire. Then the sun will rise, and everything will become ordinary daylight, and the alpenglow will fade into memory until tomorrow morning. But you do not have to watch if you do not want to. You can close your eyes. The light will still be there when you open them, or it will have moved on, and the ordinary daylight will have taken its place, and that is fine too. The conductor walks down the corridor outside your roomette. You can hear his footsteps, measured and steady. He is checking on things, making sure everything is in order. His job on this New Year's morning is the same as it was yesterday. The train still needs to be conducted. There is something comforting about that, too. The routines that continue, the jobs that need to be done regardless of what day it is. The world keeps turning. The trains keep running. The empire builder was not always called that. The original empire builder was a man named James J. Hill, who founded the Great Northern Railway. He believed in building an empire of commerce across the northern United States. Rails and grain and timber and ore. He was ambitious, some would say ruthless. But the train that carries his name is gentler than he was. It rocks babies to sleep and carries grandmothers to see their grandchildren, and gives tired travelers a place to rest their heads while the miles slide by beneath them. The train picks up speed again. The wheels find their rhythm once more. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack. The sun is coming up now. It happens slowly at first. The sky above the eastern mountains goes from indigo to purple to orange. Bands of color stacked like layers. Then the first sliver of the sun appears, bright and blinding even through the window. Sunrise on January 1st, the first sunrise of a brand new year. I am not sure why that matters. The sun has risen thousands of times in my life, and it will rise thousands more. Each one is basically the same as the one before. The same process, the same physics, the same ball of hydrogen and helium 93 million miles away, burning and burning. But this one feels different, special, like it is trying to tell us something. Maybe what it is trying to tell us is, here is another day, another chance, another opportunity to be whoever you want to be. Or maybe it is just saying, good morning, I am the sun. This is what I do. Either way, it is nice to see. The light is flooding into the valley now. The shadows are retreating up the mountainsides. The snow, which looked blue and mysterious in the pre-dawn darkness, is becoming bright white, almost too bright. You might want to squint. The train is following the river, the middle fork of the Flathead. In the summer, people raft sections of this river, but now, in January, the river is quiet. Chunks of ice float slowly downstream. The current is sluggish. Even the river is resting on this first morning of the year. Through the window, you can see steam rising from the water where it is still open. The air is so cold that the relatively warmer river water creates its own weather. Little wisps of fog hovering just above the surface. Let me tell you about breakfast. The dining car will open soon, 7 or 7:30 probably. You do not have to go if you do not want to. Your sleeping car attendant can bring you coffee in your roomette. Some passengers prefer that, especially on a quiet morning like this. But if you do go to the dining car, here is what you will find. Tables set with white tablecloths. Well, paper ones, but they are still white. There will be salt and pepper shakers, a small vase with a fake flower, menus, laminated and slightly sticky. The waiter will seat you with other passengers. Community seating, it is called. You might find yourself across from a retired couple from Wisconsin who are on their way to see their son in Seattle, or a college student heading back to school after the holidays, or a woman traveling alone, reading a paperback novel, happy for the solitude. You can order eggs, scrambled or fried, with bacon or sausage. There will be toast, probably a bit overdone, orange juice, coffee refilled as many times as you want. The coffee is not great coffee. Let me be honest about that. It is train coffee. But on a cold January morning, with the sun rising over the Montana mountains, even mediocre coffee tastes good. You will sit at your table and look out the window and watch the world go by. The trees frosted with snow, the occasional deer standing at the edge of the forest watching the train pass, the small towns still asleep on this holiday morning. And you will feel, perhaps, a sense of peace, a sense that everything is in its right place, that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. But you do not have to go to breakfast. You can stay here in your roomette, under your scratchy blanket, listening to the wheels. The train is climbing now. The grade is getting steeper. We are approaching Marias Pass, the Continental Divide, the point where water stops flowing toward the Pacific and starts flowing toward the Gulf of Mexico. There is a monument at the summit, an obelisk and a statue. If the train stopped here, you could get out and see it. But the train does not stop at the summit. It just climbs up and over and continues on its way, like it has done every day for more than a century. 5,213 feet above sea level. That is where we are, or will be in a few minutes. The air is thinner up here. You probably cannot tell from inside the train, but if you were outside, hiking up this pass the way early travelers did, you would feel it. Your lungs working harder, your heart beating faster. It took them a long time to find this pass. For years, the railroad surveyors searched for a route through the Rockies. They knew there had to be a gap somewhere. Native Americans had been crossing these mountains for thousands of years, but the passes were hidden, guarded by steep canyons and deep snow. In 1889, a surveyor named John F. Stevens finally found Marias Pass. He crossed it in the dead of winter, in a blizzard, with a guide to help him. They almost froze, but they made it through. And because of that, we are here now, comfortable in our warm roomette, watching the mountains go by. It is strange to think about all the effort that made our comfort possible. But that is true of most things, I suppose. The summit is behind us now. The train is beginning to descend the eastern slope of the Rockies. The ride will be smoother from here. The mountains will gradually give way to foothills, and the foothills will give way to plains. But we are not there yet. We are still in the mountains, still surrounded by peaks and forests and frozen rivers. The sun is fully up now. It is morning, the first morning of the new year. Let me tell you about the people on this train. In the roomette next to yours, there is a man from Minnesota. He is retired, used to work in insurance. He takes the Empire Builder twice a year, once in summer and once in winter. He says it helps him think. All those hours with nothing to do but look out the window. It clears his head. In a bedroom at the end of the car, there is a family, mother, father, 2 children. They got on in Seattle, and they are going all the way to Chicago. The children are excited. They have never been on a train before. Last night, they stayed up past midnight, watching the snow fall, asking their parents questions about how trains work. The parents are tired, but the good kind of tired. The kind that comes from giving your children an experience they will remember forever. In the coach car, there are more people. A college student with headphones, an elderly woman with a crocheted blanket, a young man in a suit working on a laptop, even though it is a holiday. And then there are the crew. The conductor making his rounds, the sleeping car attendants preparing for the morning, the chef in the dining car starting the coffee, the engineer up front in the locomotive watching the tracks. They are all here, all moving together through the Montana mountains on this first morning of the new year. I do not know their names. I do not know their stories. But I know they are here, and that seems important somehow. The terrain is opening up. We are entering the high plains of Montana. Big sky country, they call it. And the sky is big. It really is. Without the mountains to frame it, The sky seems to go on forever, blue and pale and wide. A few clouds, thin and wispy, not storm clouds, just decorations. The land is rolling, gentle hills covered in snow, the occasional farmhouse, the occasional barn, red or gray or white, standing alone in all that whiteness. The wind is blowing. You can tell because the snow is drifting. Plumes of white powder whipping across the fields. Inside the train, you cannot feel the wind. You can only see its effects, the drifts, the plumes, the occasional tumbling sagebrush bouncing across the white expanse. The train is moving fast now, 70 miles per hour maybe. Fast enough to feel purposeful, slow enough to watch the scenery. Not that there is much scenery to watch, just plains, just snow, just sky. Some people find it boring. I find it restful. There is nothing to demand your attention, no dramatic peaks to gawk at, no rushing rivers to admire, just the steady scroll of white land under blue sky, mile after mile after mile. Your eyelids might be getting heavy. That is fine. You can close them. The train will keep going without you. It knows where it is going. The wheels keep clicking. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack. The rhythm has not changed. It will not change. It is as reliable as a heartbeat. I read somewhere that train sounds are particularly effective at helping people sleep because they are consistent and predictable. The brain does not have to analyze them for threats. It can relax and let go. Unlike, say, the sound of breaking glass, or a car alarm, or a phone ringing. Those sounds demand attention. They force the brain to wake up. But the sound of train wheels on tracks, that sound says, everything is fine. Keep sleeping. I have got this. The train is approaching a small town, maybe Browning, the headquarters of the Blackfeet Nation, a gas station, a grocery store, houses with smoke rising from their chimneys. The people who live here are going about their New Year's Day. Some of them might be watching football. Some of them might be visiting family. Some of them might be looking out their windows, watching the empire builder pass through, wondering who is on it and where they are going. I wave sometimes when I am on a train, at the people in cars waiting at crossings, at the children standing in their yards. Most of them wave back. There is something about a train that makes people want to wave. I am not sure what it is. Nostalgia, maybe, or friendliness, or just the simple pleasure of acknowledging another human being. You can wave if you want, or you can just lie here. Either is fine. The sun is past its peak now. It must be early afternoon. The light is softer, more golden. The shadows are lengthening again. Outside, the temperature has climbed a little. It is probably around 0 now, or maybe 5 above. Still cold, but not as brutal as it was this morning. The snow is sparkling. Each snowflake contains tiny crystals, and each crystal has facets, and each facet catches the light. So the whole landscape is twinkling, glittering, like someone scattered diamonds across the fields. It is beautiful, but I am running out of ways to describe it. Let me tell you about sleep instead. Sleep is one of the great mysteries of science. We know that we need it. We know that terrible things happen if we do not get it. But we do not fully understand why it is necessary. The leading theory is that sleep allows the brain to process and consolidate memories, to clean out waste that accumulates during the day, to repair and restore. But there might be more to it than that. Some researchers think sleep has a function for working through emotions, of rehearsing for challenges, of making sense of our lives. I am not a scientist. I cannot tell you what is true and what is speculation. But I can tell you that sleep feels necessary, especially on a train, especially on the first day of a new year. The rhythm of the wheels is like a lullaby. The rocking of the car is like being cradled. The warmth of the blanket is like being held. You do not have to fight it. You can let it take you. The train will keep going. It will cross into North Dakota. It will pass through small towns with grain elevators and water towers. It will follow rivers and cross prairies. And when you wake up, you will be somewhere new, somewhere different. But that is later. For now, you are here, in your roomette, on the Empire Builder, on the first morning of a brand new year. Let me tell you one more thing before you drift off. In 1929, when the Empire Builder first started running, the Great Northern Railway advertised it as one of the most comfortable trains in the world. They put comfortable seats in the coaches, private rooms in the sleeping cars, a dining car with white tablecloths. The train was named after James J. Hill, the Empire Builder himself. It was famous for its reliability, for arriving on time no matter the weather. These days, the Empire Builder is not always on time. Freight trains sometimes delay it. Snowstorms sometimes block the passes. But the spirit of the train remains, the sense of safety, of being carried toward your destination by something larger than yourself. That is what I want you to feel right now. Not anxious, not worried, just held, just carried. The engineer is doing his job. The conductor is doing his job. The wheels are doing their job. And your job right now is to rest. Close your eyes. Feel the rocking. Listen to the wheels. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack. You're on a train. You're warm. You're safe. And it is the first morning of a brand new year. The afternoon light is amber now, thick and heavy, like honey poured across the snow. You have been drifting in and out of sleep, in and out of dreams. That is fine. That is exactly what you should be doing. The train has been moving steadily eastward. The plains have flattened even more. The trees have disappeared almost entirely. Just grass, brown and dormant, poking through the snow. Just fences, barbed wire and wooden posts, stretching to the horizon. Occasionally, you see cattle, black Angus mostly, standing in fields, their breath steaming in the cold air. They do not seem bothered by the temperature. They have thick hides and layers of fat. They are built for this weather. The train passes and they lift their heads briefly to watch. Then they go back to whatever they were doing, standing, chewing, being cattle. I wonder what they think about, if anything. Probably not the new year. Probably not fresh starts and temporal landmarks. Probably they think about grass and water and whether that distant shape is a threat. That seems like a reasonable way to live. We are crossing into North Dakota now, or soon will be. The border is invisible. No signs, no markers, nothing to indicate the change. Just the same flat land, the same white snow, the same dark sky. But something shifts anyway, some internal sense of geography. You are in a new state now, a new place. North Dakota has fewer people than almost any other state, less than 800,000. That is fewer people than live in some single cities. Spread across 70,000 square miles. That is a lot of emptiness, a lot of open space, a lot of room for the wind to blow and the snow to drift and the stars to shine. The train will cross the entire state tonight while you sleep, from the Montana border to the Minnesota border, 400 miles or so. You will not see most of it. You will be dreaming, and that is fine. That is perfect. The train does not need you to be awake. It just needs you to be on board. Let me tell you about the stars for a moment. In January, in the northern hemisphere, the night sky is dominated by Orion, the hunter. His belt is unmistakable, 3 stars in a row. They point toward Sirius, the brightest star in the sky. These stars were here when the dinosaurs walked the earth. They will be here long after humanity is gone. They do not know we exist. They do not care. And yet, we named them. We told stories about them. We saw a hunter in those points of light. We are pattern-making creatures. We cannot help it. We see faces in clouds, and shapes in stars, and meaning in coincidence. It is what makes us human. The train is quiet now. Most of the passengers are in their rooms. The corridor is empty. The sightseer lounge has a few people sitting in the dark, watching the stars slide by. But here, in your roomette, it is just you, and the blanket, and the window, and the darkness outside. You can feel the train's vibration through the mattress, a low hum, almost below hearing. It is the engine pulling us forward. It is the wheels gripping the rails. It is all the systems working together to carry us through the night. I think about all the people who made this possible, the engineers who designed the locomotives, the workers who laid the tracks, the conductors and porters and mechanics who keep everything running. Most of them I will never meet. Most of them I do not even know exist, but they are there in the background, making the world work. That is true of everything, I suppose. The food we eat, the clothes we wear, the houses we live in. All of it comes from people we will never meet. It is humbling when you think about it. How much we rely on each other. How interconnected we are. But you do not have to think about it. You can just feel it. The hum of the train, the warmth of the blanket, the presence of all those people, known and unknown, who are carrying you through the night. The moon is rising, a crescent moon, thin and sharp, like a fingernail clipping. It is waning now, getting smaller every night. In a week or so, it will be a new moon, invisible against the dark sky. The seasons turn. The wheel keeps spinning. You have made it through a year. Whatever happened, whatever you went through, you are here, on the other side, looking at a brand new calendar with all its empty pages. That is an accomplishment. Do not underestimate it. Some years are easy. Some years are hard. Some years feel like they will never end. Some years vanish before you can catch them. But you made it through. You are still here. And now you are on a train, crossing the northern plains, watching the stars and the moon, listening to the wheels. You do not have to do anything else tonight. You do not have to make resolutions or set goals or plan improvements. You do not have to be better or stronger or more productive. You just have to be here, in this moment, in this roomette, on this train. That is enough. The night is deep now, true dark. The darkness that comes only in the middle of the night, in the middle of winter, in the middle of nowhere. The train is steady. The wheels are clicking. The warmth is holding. Outside, the snow is blue in the moonlight. The fields stretch to the horizon, empty and silent. Nothing moves except the wind. Nothing sounds except the train. You are drifting, I can tell. Your breathing is slower. Your muscles are relaxing. The thoughts that were racing earlier are quieting down. That is good. That is what should happen. Sleep is coming. Do not fight it. Do not chase it. Just let it arrive, like a train pulling into a station. You have nothing to fear. You are safe. You are warm. You are exactly where you need to be. The new year is here. Whatever it brings, you will handle it. Whatever happens, you will cope. You have coped before. You will cope again. But that is for later. That is for tomorrow, or next week, or next month. For now, there is just this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this wheel turning on this rail. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack. The sound of something reliable, the sound of something that knows where it is going. You are on the Empire Builder. You are crossing the northern plains. You are moving through the first night of a brand new year. And everything, for this moment, is exactly as it should be. Sleep well. The train will carry you. And tomorrow, the sun will rise again. There is a long stretch of quiet now. The train is moving through the night. The passengers are sleeping. The corridor is empty. If you listen carefully, you can hear the different sounds the train makes. The bass rumble of the wheels on the rails. The higher-pitched click as we pass over joints in the track. The occasional squeal as we round a curve. There is the sound of the wind, too, pressing against the windows, trying to get in. But it cannot get in. The train is sealed, protected, a capsule of warmth moving through the cold. And there is the sound of the heating system, clicking on and off, the fan blowing warm air. It is not a loud sound. You might not notice it if you were not paying attention, but it is there, constant, reliable. These sounds layer together, creating something almost like music, a train symphony, performed every night for no audience across thousands of miles of track. I find it soothing. More soothing than most music, actually. There is no melody to follow, no lyrics to parse, just sound, just rhythm, just the hum of machinery doing what it was designed to do. The train is passing through a town now, a small one, a few street lights, a grain elevator, a water tower with the town's name painted on the side. You cannot read the name in the darkness, just a blur of letters as we pass. But someone knows this town. Someone grew up here. Someone is lying in bed right now in one of those small houses, listening to the train whistle blow. They hear this sound every night. The empire builder passing through, a reminder of the larger world, a sound of possibility. But for them, it is just background noise, part of the rhythm of their lives, as familiar as the ticking of a clock. We are gone in seconds. The town recedes, the darkness returns, and you drift deeper. The muscles in your face are relaxing. Your jaw is unclenching. The tension you have been carrying, maybe for months, maybe for years, is starting to release. You might not even realize you were carrying it. Tension has a way of becoming invisible. We adapt to it. We forget what relaxation feels like. But here, on the train, you can remember. You can feel your shoulders dropping, your hands uncurling, your breathing deepening. This is what rest feels like. Not just sleep, rest. The two are not the same. You can sleep for 8 hours and wake up exhausted. You can rest for 20 minutes and feel renewed. Rest is about letting go, about trusting, about believing, even for a moment, that you do not have to hold everything together. The train is holding it together for you. The engineer is steering. The conductor is watching. The wheels are turning. You can let go. The night is passing, hour by hour, mile by mile. There is a lake out there somewhere, Devil's Lake, a natural lake with no outlet. It has been rising for decades. Engineers have been fighting to keep the water back, to keep the trains running. They raised the tracks, built barriers, pumped water away. But you do not need to worry about that. The tracks are clear tonight. The train is moving, steady, sure. I am going to be quiet now, for a while. I am going to let the train sounds be the only sounds. You do not need my voice anymore. You have everything you need. The warmth, the blanket, the rhythm, the dark. Just rest, just breathe, just be. The new year is here, and you are exactly where you should be. Miles passing, towns passing, stars wheeling overhead. The train moves through the darkness like a thread being pulled through fabric. Smooth, continuous, unbroken. You are part of that thread now, part of the train, part of the night. Hours pass, or maybe minutes. It is hard to tell when you are this deep. Time becomes elastic. The train knows what time it is, but you do not need to know. You can just float. The first morning of the new year is becoming the first afternoon, is becoming the first evening, is becoming the first night. But that does not matter. What matters is this: you are resting. You are safe. You are being carried. And when you wake up, whenever that is, wherever that is, you will be somewhere new. A new place, a new year, a new chance. But that is later. For now, sleep. The train will take care of the rest. The wheels keep turning. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack, clickety-clack. We are in Minnesota now. The dawn is coming again. Not suddenly, not dramatically. Just a slow lightening of the sky, the deep black becoming gray, the stars fading one by one. You have been sleeping. For how long you cannot say. But the train has been moving, mile after mile, carrying you eastward through the night. There are more trees here. Not forests exactly, but clusters of birch and oak, their bare branches reaching toward the sky. The snow is different too, deeper in some places, sculpted by the wind into strange shapes, waves and ridges and hollows. The landscape looks like a frozen ocean. The sun is up now. It is over the horizon, fully emerged, casting long shadows across the snow. The second morning of the new year. The train is passing through farmland, plowed fields buried under white blankets, farmhouses with smoke rising from their chimneys, barns, red and weathered, standing strong against the winter. Minnesota is farm country, corn and soybeans and wheat. In the summer, the fields stretch to the horizon in every shade of green. But now, in January, everything is white. The farmers are resting. Their work is done for the season. The land is sleeping, waiting for spring. I think farming must be a good profession for people who understand waiting, who know that some things cannot be rushed, that growth happens in its own time. You cannot make corn grow faster. You cannot make spring arrive sooner. You just have to wait, to trust the seasons, to do your part and let nature do the rest. That is a hard lesson for some of us, especially in a world that values speed and efficiency. But the farmers know, the trains know, the slow way is sometimes the best way. The dining car is open for breakfast. You should probably eat something, even if you are not hungry. The body needs fuel, especially when it is cold outside. If you get up and make your way to the dining car, you will find it warm, warmer than the rest of the train. The kitchen has been cooking since before dawn, and the heat has built up. There are tables on both sides of the aisle, with large windows looking out at the passing scenery. The waiter will ask how you take your coffee. The coffee is still not great, but it is hot. And sometimes, hot is all that matters. You can order eggs, scrambled with cheese, or an omelet with vegetables. There will be hash browns, golden and crispy at the edges. Bacon if you want it. Toast with butter and jam. It is simple food, the kind of breakfast your grandmother might have made. The waiter will refill your coffee when it gets low. He will ask if you need anything else. He will be polite and efficient. Community seating means you will share your table. This morning, there might be an older gentleman across from you. His name might be Harold. He might be going to Chicago to see his daughter. She just had a baby, his first grandchild. He is excited. You can tell by the way he keeps checking his phone for photos, the way he tells you the baby's name, the weight, the exact time of birth. He does not know you. He does not need to know you. But for this breakfast, you are his audience, the person he gets to share his joy with. And that is okay. It is nice, even, to witness someone else's happiness, to be reminded that good things are happening in the world all the time, whether we see them or not. You finish your breakfast. You leave a tip on the table. You make your way back to your roomette. The train is passing through a small town. Towns with names that seem to belong somewhere else. But the railroad made these towns. Settlements sprang up wherever the tracks went. The railroad brought jobs and commerce and connection. Now the towns are quieter. Some of them are shrinking. The young people move away to the cities. The stores on Main Street close one by one. But the railroad still comes through, the empire builder every day, a reminder that these places are not forgotten. The morning is passing. The sun is higher now. The shadows are shorter. The train is moving through forest, northern Minnesota, lake country, the land of 10,000 lakes. Actually, there are more than that. But who is counting? You cannot see the lakes from the train, not most of them. They are hidden behind the trees, frozen solid, covered with snow. But you know they are there. You can feel them somehow. The presence of all that water held still by the cold. In the summer, these lakes are alive with activity. Boats and swimmers and fishermen. But now, in January, the lakes are sleeping. The fish are at the bottom, moving slowly in the cold water. Only the ice fishermen venture out. They drill holes in the ice and drop their lines and wait, sometimes for hours, sometimes all day. I tried ice fishing once. I did not catch anything, but I enjoyed the waiting. The silence, the blank white expanse of the frozen lake. It is a form of meditation, really, sitting on a bucket in the middle of a frozen lake, watching a tiny hole in the ice. You let go of time. You let go of expectations. You just sit and wait and see what happens. Most of the time, nothing happens. But sometimes a tug on the line, a flash of silver beneath the ice. The train is approaching the twin cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, the biggest metropolitan area between Chicago and Seattle. You can tell by the change in the scenery. More houses, more roads, more cars moving on highways. The cities are waking up, even on January 2nd. People have places to be, jobs to go to. The pace is faster here. You can feel it through the window. But the train does not hurry. It moves at its own pace, fast enough to be purposeful, slow enough to watch the world go by. The station is coming into view, Union Depot in St. Paul, a grand old station built in the 1920s. Pink marble floors, a barrel-vaulted ceiling, chandeliers. It was one of the busiest stations in the country once. Now it is quieter. Only a few trains a day. The train slows. The brakes squeal. We come to a stop. Some people get off. Some people get on. There is a shuffle of luggage and coats and goodbyes. And then, after 15 or 20 minutes, the doors close. The engine revs. The wheels begin to turn. And we are moving again. The Twin Cities are behind us now, the urban sprawl giving way to suburbs, then to countryside. We are in Wisconsin, the dairy state. The terrain is rolling here, gentle hills covered with trees and farms. The Mississippi River is somewhere to the south, the Great River. It flows from Minnesota all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. The empire builder crossed the Mississippi back in Minnesota. It is a wide river, even in winter. Chunks of ice float on its surface, heading south. I like rivers. I like the way they keep moving, the way they cannot be stopped. The water that flows past St. Paul today was a raindrop in Montana a few weeks ago, or a snowflake in North Dakota. All of it flowing together, all of it heading toward the sea. There is something reassuring about that, the cycle of water, over and over for billions of years. Whatever happens to us, the rivers will keep flowing. You are feeling drowsy again, I can tell. The breakfast has settled. The warmth has made you sleepy. The rhythm of the wheels is working its magic. That is okay. You can rest. The train will keep moving. We have hours to go before Chicago. Hours of Wisconsin farmland. Hours of small towns and frozen lakes and bare trees. You do not need to see all of it. You do not need to be awake for every mile. The train does not require your attention. It only requires your presence. So settle back, pull the blanket up, let your eyes close. The light through the window is soft, filtered through winter haze. It falls on your face like a blessing. The wheels click, the car sways, the heating hums. You are safe, you are warm, you are exactly where you need to be. The afternoon is passing. The sun is moving across the sky. The train is moving across Wisconsin, through small towns with churches and grain elevators, through farmland with red barns and white fences, through forests of bare trees reaching toward the pale winter sky. Each mile brings you closer to Chicago, but there is no rush, no urgency. The train will get there when it gets there, and you will be rested. Sleep is divided into stages: light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep. Your brain cycles through them. In light sleep, you are still partially aware. In deep sleep, you are far away. Your brain waves slow down, muscles relax, your body repairs itself. In REM sleep, you dream. Your eyes move rapidly under your lids. Your brain is as active as when you are awake. You will cycle through these stages several times. Each cycle, the REM periods get longer. That is why we tend to remember the dreams we have just before waking. Scientists used to think sleep was a passive state, but they were wrong. Sleep is active, essential. If you do not sleep, terrible things happen. Sleep is not optional. It is not a luxury. It is a necessity. And yet, so many of us fight it. Stay up late, get up early, push through the exhaustion. But the body keeps score, and eventually the debt must be paid. So I am glad you are resting. I am glad the train is giving you this gift, a chance to catch up, to restore. You have earned it. Whatever you did last year, however hard you worked, you have earned this rest. Take it. Let it soak into your bones. The train will keep moving. The world will keep turning. But for now, for this moment, you can just rest. The train is crossing into Illinois now, the final state. Chicago is getting closer. A few more hours. But you do not need to think about that. You can sleep a little longer. The wheels keep clicking. The rhythm never changes. Steady, reliable, like a heartbeat, like a promise. We will get you there. We will keep you safe. Just rest. The light is fading now, afternoon turning to evening. The sun is low in the west. The shadows are long. Soon it will be dark again, the second night of the new year. But you are warm. You are comfortable. You are being carried, and that is all that matters. The train moves through the twilight, through small towns with lights coming on in windows, through farmland turning blue in the dusk, and you sleep, deep and peaceful, the sleep of someone who is safe, who is warm, who has nothing to fear, the sleep of someone on a train being carried through the winter night. The wheels keep turning, clickety-clack, clickety-clack, miles passing, hours passing, the darkness deepening, the stars coming out, and still the train moves, east, always east, toward Chicago, toward the end of the line. But there is no hurry, no rush, just the steady rhythm of the wheels, just the gentle rocking of the car, just the warmth of the blanket and the softness of the pillow, and the knowledge that you are being taken care of, that you do not have to do anything, that you can just be. The night is deep when the lights of Chicago first appear, a glow on the horizon, growing brighter as we approach. The city is awake, even on this second night of the new year. The buildings are lit, the streets are busy, but you are still in your cocoon, still in your roomette, still warm and safe and comfortable. The train slows as we enter the rail yards, the maze of tracks that leads to Union Station. Other trains are visible through the window, freight trains and commuter trains, all of them converging on this one point, like the heart of a great machine. You have arrived. Or almost. A few more minutes, a few more turns, and then the platform will appear, and the doors will open, and your journey will be over. But before we say goodbye, let me tell you one more thing. The Empire Builder will rest in Chicago for a few hours. Then, tomorrow morning, it will head back, west, across Wisconsin and Minnesota and North Dakota and Montana, back to the mountains and rivers, back to Seattle and Portland. The same route, the same scenery, the same rhythm of wheels on tracks. Different passengers, different stories. The train does not care who is on board. It just goes, back and forth, day after day, year after year. And that is beautiful in a way. The constancy of it, the reliability. The world changes, people change, but the Empire Builder keeps running. Maybe that is why we love trains, because they remind us that some things endure, some things remain. Even in a world of change, there are constants. The sun rises and sets, the seasons turn, the trains run. You can count on it. The platform is here. The train has stopped. It is time to gather your things, to stretch your legs, to step off the train and into the next chapter. I hope you rested well. I hope the journey gave you what you needed. And I hope the new year is kind to you, full of good days and restful nights, full of journeys wherever they may lead. Thank you for letting me keep you company. If this journey helped you relax, perhaps you would like to join us again next time. There are other trains, other routes, other nights. But for now, this train, this night, this moment. Good night, and Happy New Year. The Empire Builder is the busiest long-distance train route that Amtrak operates. More than 300,000 people ride it every year. That is a lot of people, a lot of journeys, a lot of stories. Each person who boards has their own reason for being there. Some are going to see family, some are going home, some are running away, some are running toward something. Each journey is different, but the train is the same. It carries them all. The excited children and the tired parents, the college students and the retirees, the business travelers and the tourists, all of them rocking gently in their seats or sleeping in their roomettes, being carried through the night. I think that is beautiful. That one train can mean so many different things to so many different people. That it can be a place of joy or sadness or contemplation or rest. That it can be whatever each person needs it to be. For you, tonight, it was a place to rest, to let go, to drift off to sleep while the miles slid by beneath you. And I am glad for that. I am glad you found what you needed here. But before you go, let me tell you a few more things about this journey, about the Empire Builder, about trains, about winter, about rest. Because there is time. There is always time when you are on a train. Time stretches differently here, expands, becomes something you can feel instead of something that pushes you forward. The Superliner cars you are riding in were built between 1975 and 1996. Two generations of them, Superliner 1 and Superliner 2. They weigh about 83 tons each. That is the weight of 40 or 50 cars stacked on top of each other. Each car is supported by two trucks, which is the technical term for the wheel assemblies. Each truck has 4 wheels, so the car rolls on 8 wheels altogether. The wheels are made of steel. They ride on steel rails. The contact point between each wheel and the rail is about the size of a dime. Think about that. All that weight balanced on such small points, gliding along at 70 miles per hour through the dark. It is remarkable, really. All that weight, all that metal, all those people moving so smoothly. The rails themselves are fascinating. They are made of continuous welded rail, quarter-mile sections welded together. No gaps, no joints, just smooth, uninterrupted steel stretching for hundreds of miles. In the old days, rails came in shorter sections, bolted together. When the train passed over the joints, you would hear that distinctive clickety-clack, the sound we associate with train travel. The click still happens on modern rails, but less frequently. There are expansion joints every quarter mile or so. That is where the click comes from now. So when you hear clickety-clack, clickety-clack, you are hearing the train pass over expansion joints, quarter mile after quarter mile, click after click. It is like counting heartbeats, the heartbeat of the journey. Let me tell you about the window beside your bed. It is made of thick glass, safety glass, the kind that holds together even if it cracks. 2 panes with a gap between them for insulation. The glass is cold to the touch, but it is also beautiful in a way. Frost has formed patterns on the edges, fern-like crystals spreading inward from the frame. Each one unique, each one a tiny work of art that will disappear when the sun warms the window. Scientists call these patterns ice flowers or window frost. They form when humid air inside the car meets the cold glass. The water vapor crystallizes, following invisible imperfections in the glass surface. The result is those delicate, feathery shapes. Your grandmother might have called it Jack Frost's work. In the old stories, Jack Frost was a winter spirit who painted the windows at night. But I prefer the scientific explanation. I find it more magical somehow, that these intricate patterns emerge from simple physics, temperature differentials, water molecules, the structure of ice crystals. No one designed them. No one planned them. They just happen. Every cold night, every winter, all over the world. And tomorrow, when the temperature rises, they will melt. The water will run down the glass and evaporate, and the window will be clear again, waiting for the next cold night. That is the nature of beautiful things. They do not last, but that is what makes them beautiful. Let me tell you about the snow outside. Montana receives an average of 300 inches of snow per year in the mountain areas. That is 25 feet, taller than a 2-story building. The snow falls throughout the winter, accumulating layer upon layer. Each layer tells a story. A warm day followed by a cold night creates a crust. A windstorm creates a drift. A gentle overnight snowfall creates a smooth, powdery blanket. Scientists can read these layers. Core samples from glaciers reveal the history of the climate, year by year, century by century. The snow we see outside is probably several feet deep, but beneath it, the ground is not frozen solid. The snow acts as insulation. Small animals like mice and voles live in tunnels beneath the snow where the temperature stays relatively warm. They are called subnivean creatures, under the snow. The foxes know about these tunnels. You might see a fox hunting on a snowy day, pouncing into the snow, trying to catch the voles beneath. It looks like they are playing, but they are hunting by sound, listening for the tiny movements under the surface. The snow also protects the seeds and roots of plants. Without the insulating blanket of snow, the ground would freeze solid and the plants would die. So the snow that seems so barren is actually protecting the spring that will come. That is one of the things I love about nature. The way things that seem dead or empty are often full of hidden life. The way the harsh winter is also a kind of nurturing. Let me tell you about the attendants who work on this train. A typical Empire Builder crew includes about 15 people. The engineer and assistant engineer who drive the train. The conductor and assistant conductor who manage everything. The sleeping car attendants, one for each sleeper car. The dining car crew. The cafe car attendants. They work long shifts, 12, 14, 16 hours sometimes. The Empire Builder takes about 46 hours from end to end. That means the crew members sleep on the train, in special quarters reserved for them. They see the same scenery day after day, year after year. The mountains, the plains, the rivers. They know every curve in the track, every whistle stop, every regular passenger who boards in certain towns. Some of them have been doing this for decades. They remember when the dining car had real china and silver, when passengers dressed up for dinner, when the train was the elegant way to travel. Now things are simpler. Paper plates instead of china, casual clothes instead of suits. But the essence is the same. People traveling across the country, sharing meals, sharing stories, sharing the journey. The attendants are the keepers of that tradition. They make up your bed. They bring you coffee. They tell you when your stop is approaching. Small acts of service that make the journey comfortable. I hope people tip them well. They work hard. They are away from their families for days at a time. They deal with difficult passengers and mechanical problems and delays. They do it all with a smile, most of them, because they love the train. They love the journey. They love being part of something that has been running for more than a century. Let me tell you about the men who built this railroad. They were mostly immigrants, Chinese workers in the West, Irish workers in the East, Scandinavians and Germans in the northern plains. They worked with picks and shovels and dynamite, blasting through mountains, filling in valleys, laying rails by hand, one tie at a time. The work was dangerous. Men died in rock slides and explosions. They died from disease and exhaustion and exposure. The exact numbers are not known, but historians estimate that thousands of workers lost their lives building the Western railroads. Their graves are scattered along the right-of-way, unmarked, forgotten. But the tracks they laid are still here. The trains still run on them. Every passenger who rides the Empire Builder is riding on their labor. I think about that sometimes. The hidden foundations of the world we live in. The people whose names we do not know, whose faces we never saw, who made our comfort possible. It is humbling, and it makes me want to treat the world more gently, to honor what was built before. Let me tell you about the journey you have taken. From Seattle or Portland to Chicago, the Empire Builder covers approximately 2,200 miles. That is farther than the distance from New York to Miami, farther than London to Istanbul. You have crossed 3 time zones, Pacific to Mountain to Central. Your body does not quite know what time it is. Your internal clock is a bit confused, but that is okay. The confusion will fade. Your rhythms will reset, and in a few days you will barely remember that you were ever out of sync. You have passed through 8 states: Washington or Oregon, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois. Each one with its own landscape, its own character, its own way of being. You have climbed over the Rocky Mountains at Marias Pass, 5,213 feet above sea level, and descended to the plains of North Dakota, less than 2,000 feet above sea level. Your ears may have popped somewhere along the way. You have crossed rivers: the Clark Fork, the Flathead, the Missouri, the Mississippi, each one flowing in its own direction toward its own eventual sea. You have passed through forests and farmland and cities and wilderness. You have seen deer and possibly elk and cattle and maybe a coyote or two. You have seen snow and ice and the thin winter sun. And through it all, the train has carried you, steady and reliable, click after click, mile after mile. That is no small thing. That is a journey. That is an accomplishment. Even if all you did was sit in your roomette and watch the world go by, even if you slept through half of it. You have traveled 2,200 miles across the heart of America. You have earned your rest. Let me tell you about the dining car you visited this morning. Or maybe you did not visit it. Maybe you stayed in your roomette and had coffee brought to you. Either way is fine. But if you did go, you sat in a car that has been serving meals for decades. Not the same physical car, perhaps. The cars get replaced and refurbished. But the same tradition, the same idea. People breaking bread together while the landscape slides by outside. Traditional dining service is offered on the Empire Builder. That means you can have a meal prepared in the kitchen and brought to your table. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. The menu changes with the seasons, but it always includes options for different dietary needs. The servers work hard. The kitchen is small and the train is moving, and sometimes there are delays and equipment problems, but they do their best to make sure everyone is fed and happy. Community seating means you might end up sharing a table with strangers. Some people love this, the chance to meet new people, to hear their stories, to share the journey. Other people find it awkward. They would rather eat alone or just with their traveling companions. Both reactions are valid. Both are okay. The train accommodates everyone. Let me tell you about Wisconsin, which we are passing through now, or have passed through already. It is hard to keep track. Wisconsin is known for cheese and beer and the Green Bay Packers. It is known for dairy farms and frozen lakes and friendly people. The terrain is rolling, not flat like the plains, but not mountainous either. Just gentle hills, covered with trees in summer and snow in winter. It is beautiful in a quiet way, not dramatic or showy, just steady and reliable, like the people who live here. Wisconsin has more than 15,000 lakes. In summer, they are full of boats and swimmers and fishermen. In winter, they freeze solid. Ice fishermen drill holes and drop their lines. Ice skaters glide across the surface. Snowmobilers roar from town to town. But from the train, in January, you mostly see whiteness, fields of snow, frozen ponds, bare trees, the occasional farmhouse with smoke rising from the chimney. It is peaceful, restful, a landscape that invites you to slow down and breathe. Let me tell you about Chicago, which is waiting at the end of this journey. Chicago is a big city, nearly 3 million people, the third largest in the country. It was built by the railroads, in a sense, the hub of the nation, the place where all the lines converged. Every major railroad in America had a terminal in Chicago. The Empire Builder, the California Zephyr, the Southwest Chief, all of them ending here. Chicago Union Station is a grand old building opened in 1925. The Great Hall, with its columns and skylights and benches where travelers have waited for nearly a century. You will walk through that hall when you disembark. Your footsteps will echo on the marble floor. You will join the stream of travelers, heading for the exits, for the taxis, for the lives waiting outside. Chicago is a city of broad shoulders, as the poet Carl Sandburg wrote. A city of workers and dreamers and strivers. A city of wind and snow and summer heat. A city of deep dish pizza and hot dogs and blues music and skyscrapers that reach toward the clouds. It is a good city to arrive in, a good city to leave from, a good city to call home if you are lucky enough to live there. But you do not have to think about Chicago yet. You are still on the train, still in your cocoon, still warm and safe and comfortable. Let me tell you about the heating system in your roomette. It is simple but effective. Warm air is generated in the car's heating unit and distributed through ducts. A fan pushes the air through the vents. A thermostat controls the temperature. Sometimes the heating works too well and the roomette gets too warm. You can adjust it, but not by much. Sometimes it does not work well enough and you get cold. You can request extra blankets from your attendant, but most of the time it works just right. You are warm without being too warm, comfortable without being stuffy. The gentle warmth adds to the coziness of the experience, makes you want to curl up under the blanket and drift off, which is exactly what you should do. Let me tell you about the rhythm of train travel. It is different from any other kind of travel. When you fly, everything is compressed. You board, you take off, you reach cruising altitude. Time passes in a strange, suspended state. You land, you disembark. The journey is over. When you drive, you are in control. You decide when to stop, when to go, what route to take. You are active, engaged, responsible. But on a train, you surrender control. You board, you settle in, and then you just go. You do not decide the route. You do not decide the speed. You do not decide when to stop. You just ride. And there is something deeply freeing about that, about letting someone else be in charge, about trusting that you will get where you are going without having to do anything except be present. It is a kind of meditation, really, a practice in letting go, in being instead of doing, in trusting instead of controlling. The train does not ask anything of you, it just carries you. And in exchange, all you have to do is relax, rest, be. Let me tell you about the other passengers on this train. You have been sharing the journey with them, though you may not have met most of them. They are all around you, in the coach cars, in the other roomettes, in the bedrooms and family rooms. Each one has a story. Each one has a reason for being here. The businessman heading to a meeting, the grandmother visiting her grandchildren, the college student going back to school, the couple on vacation, the family making memories. the solo traveler finding solitude. They are all here, all on the same train, all being carried through the winter landscape together. They might not know each other. They might never speak to each other. But they are connected by this shared experience, this journey. There is something profound about that, about strangers moving through the world together, briefly connected, briefly part of the same story, and then diverging, going their separate ways, carrying the memory of the journey with them. Let me tell you about the night sky you saw last night. Or maybe you did not see it. Maybe you were already asleep. But it was there, above the train, as you rolled across the plains. In winter, in the northern states, away from the cities, the stars are brilliant, clear and sharp, and seemingly close enough to touch. The Milky Way stretches across the sky, a river of light. You can see constellations, Orion, the Big Dipper, Cassiopeia, the same stars that guided travelers for thousands of years. The same stars that the railroad workers looked up at when they rested from their labors. The stars do not care about us. They do not know we exist. They burn and burn, light years away, indifferent to our joys and sorrows. And yet, we find them beautiful. We give them names. We tell stories about them. We use them to navigate. We use them to wonder. Looking at the stars makes us feel small, but in a good way, in a way that puts our problems in perspective, that reminds us that we are part of something vast and ancient and ongoing. Whatever worries you brought onto this train, they seem smaller under the stars, more manageable, more temporary. The stars have been burning for billions of years. They will burn for billions more. And in that context, your worries are just a flicker, a brief moment in time. That thought might make some people feel insignificant, but I find it comforting. It means my mistakes are not permanent. My failures are not final. Everything is temporary. Everything passes. The stars remain. The earth keeps turning. The trains keep running. And tomorrow is always another chance. Let me tell you about tomorrow. When you wake up, you will be in Chicago, or nearly there. The train will be pulling into Union Station. The journey will be ending. You will gather your things, your luggage, your coat, your phone, all the items you brought with you. You will step off the train onto the platform. Your legs will feel a bit unsteady. After nearly 2 days of the train's gentle rocking, solid ground will feel strange. You will walk through the station, through the Great Hall, out into the Chicago morning. The cold air will hit your face, sharp and clean. You will take a breath. You will orient yourself. You will figure out where you need to go next. A taxi, a bus, a rental car, a friend waiting to pick you up. The next leg of your journey, whatever it is, you will move forward. But you will carry this journey with you. The memory of the mountains at dawn, the rhythm of the wheels, the warmth of the roomette, the kindness of the attendants, the strangers you met in the dining car, the landscape sliding by outside. You will carry it all. And when life gets busy and stressful and overwhelming, you will be able to close your eyes and remember. You will be able to hear the clickety-clack of the wheels. You will be able to feel the gentle rocking. you will be able to return in your mind to this place of rest. That is what journeys give us. They give us memories. They give us perspective. They give us stories to tell. They give us moments of peace that we can return to again and again whenever we need them. This journey is one of those moments. This train, this roomette, this first morning of the new year. Hold on to it. Let it become part of you. Let it be a place you can return to when you need rest. The new year stretches ahead of you, blank pages waiting to be filled. You do not know what will happen. None of us do. But you know this. You made it through last year. You are here. You are alive. You are moving forward. And that is enough. That is more than enough. The train brought you here, and now you will take the next step, and the next, and the next, one day at a time, one moment at a time, just like the train, 1 mile at a time, one click of the wheels at a time, steady, reliable, moving forward, always moving forward. But before this journey ends completely, let me tell you a few more things. Things you might find comforting. Things that might help you drift off one last time before we reach Chicago. Let me tell you about the tunnels you passed through earlier. 6 of them on the stretch through Glacier territory. Each one built to protect the tracks from avalanches. The engineers knew that snow on the steep slopes above could come crashing down without warning, so they carved tunnels through the solid rock. Inside a tunnel, the sound changes completely. The clicking of the wheels becomes louder, echoing off the close walls. The darkness is absolute, except for the lights inside the train. It is like being inside a cocoon within a cocoon, protected, safe. And then you emerge, back into the open air, back into the wide world. The sound opens up again. The stars reappear, if it is night. The mountains return to view. And you feel, perhaps, a small sense of relief. Not because you were afraid in the tunnel, but because the openness feels good after the closeness. Life is like that sometimes. Periods of closeness, of being held tight, followed by periods of openness, of expansion. Both are necessary. Both serve a purpose. The tunnel protects you. The open air lets you breathe. Let me tell you about the middle fork of the Flathead River that the train followed this morning. In the summer, it is one of the most beautiful rivers in America. Glacial blue-green water, so clear you can see the rocks on the bottom, surrounded by mountains and forests. Rafters come from all over to float its rapids. But in winter, it is quiet, partially frozen. The rapids are stilled. The water moves slowly under the ice. Riverbanks are buried in snow. No rafters, no kayakers, just the river, resting, waiting for spring. There is something peaceful about seeing a wild river at rest. Something that reminds us that even the wildest things need to rest sometimes. Even the most energetic, most vibrant, most alive things need to stop and be still for a while. You are like that river. You have your wild times, your rapids, your rushing, tumbling, energetic periods. But you also need your quiet times, your still waters, your periods of rest. This train journey is your still water, your time to rest, your time to let the ice form on the surface, while underneath, deep down, you keep moving slowly forward, healing, restoring, preparing for the next rapid. Let me tell you about the small towns you passed through in the night. Towns you probably never saw because you were sleeping. Towns like Havre and Malta and Glasgow. Towns with populations of a few thousand or a few hundred. Towns where everyone knows everyone. These towns were built by the railroad. The Great Northern Railway came through and settlements sprang up along the tracks. Grain elevators were built, general stores, churches, schools, homes. The railroad brought jobs and connections to the wider world. Some of these towns have thrived, others have struggled. As farming became more mechanized, fewer people were needed to work the land. Young people moved to the cities for opportunities. Buildings were boarded up. Main streets became quieter. But the train still comes through, the empire builder, every day, twice a day actually, eastbound and westbound. A reminder that these places are not forgotten, that they are still connected, that people can still get here, and people from here can still get out. I find that hopeful, that even as the world changes, even as some things decline, the train keeps running. The connection remains. The possibility of travel, of escape, of return remains. Let me tell you about the prairies of North Dakota that you crossed while you slept. Vast, flat expanses of land that seem to go on forever. In summer, they are golden with wheat. In winter, they are white with snow. The prairies can feel empty, lonely, especially in winter. The wind blows across them with nothing to stop it. The snow drifts into strange shapes. The sky seems enormous, pressing down from above. But the prairies are not empty, not really. They are full of life, just hidden, underground. The roots of grasses, dormant but not dead. The seeds, waiting for spring. The small mammals in their burrows. The bacteria in the soil, doing their slow, essential work. The prairies are resting, just like you, just like the river, just like the winter world all around, resting and waiting, storing energy, preparing for the burst of life that will come when the snow melts and the sun returns. You might feel empty sometimes, dormant, like nothing is happening, like you are just waiting. But underneath, deep down, things are happening. You are resting, yes, but you are also growing, slowly, imperceptibly, getting ready for your own burst of spring. Trust the process. Trust the winter. Trust the rest. Let me tell you about the dining car staff you may have encountered. Marcus, for instance, or someone like him. He has been working on the Empire Builder for years. He has seen thousands of passengers come and go. He has served breakfast, lunch, and dinner countless times. He has heard countless stories. He remembers the regulars, the people who ride this route several times a year. The businessman who always orders the same thing. The elderly woman who travels to visit her daughter. The young couple who takes the train for their anniversary every year. He remembers the special occasions too. The marriage proposals that happened in the dining car. The birthdays celebrated with candles on dessert. The reunions of old friends who met on the train years ago. He has seen people at their best and their worst. Excited children on their first train ride. Exhausted travelers dealing with delays. Sad people traveling to funerals. Happy people traveling to weddings. He treats them all with the same courtesy, the same professionalism, the same small kindnesses. An extra cup of coffee, a joke to make someone smile, a kind word when someone seems down. He is part of what makes the train work, part of what makes the journey special. One person doing his job well, day after day, making the experience better for thousands of people he will never see again. We all depend on people like that, people we will never know, people whose names we will never learn, people who do their jobs well, day after day, making the world a little better, a little kinder, a little more comfortable. The next time you ride a train, or fly on a plane, or stay in a hotel, or eat in a restaurant, remember that. Remember the people who make it work, the people in the background, the people who do the small, essential things that add up to your comfort and safety. They matter. Their work matters, and they deserve our gratitude. Let me tell you about the locomotive at the front of this train. You cannot see it from your roomette. It is several cars ahead, but it is there, pulling all of this weight, all of these passengers, all of this steel, pulling it up mountains and across prairies, pulling it through winter storms and summer heat. Modern locomotives are diesel-electric. The diesel engine generates electricity, which powers electric motors that turn the wheels. It is more efficient than a purely mechanical system, more reliable, more powerful. The locomotive on the Empire Builder probably weighs about 200 tons. It can produce thousands of horsepower. It can pull a train weighing hundreds of tons at speeds up to 79 miles per hour. It is an impressive machine, but it is also just a machine. It does not think. It does not feel. It does not care about the passengers it is pulling or the journey it is making. It just does what it was designed to do. It pulls, it powers, it moves forward. And yet, without it, none of this would be possible. Without it, the Superliner cars would just sit on the tracks. The passengers would have no way to get from Chicago to Seattle. The journey would not happen. Sometimes we are like that locomotive. We do not feel inspired or motivated or particularly special. We just do what we need to do. We show up. We do our job. We move forward. And that is enough. That is more than enough. Because without us showing up, without us doing our part, things do not happen. The journey does not continue. The work does not get done. So even on the days when you feel like just a machine, just going through the motions, remember that you matter. Your showing up matters. Your pulling your share of the load matters. You are the locomotive, and the journey depends on you. Let me tell you about the baggage car. It is at the front of the train, just behind the locomotive. It carries luggage, of course, suitcases and backpacks and boxes, things people need for their journeys. But it also carries other things. Mail sometimes, freight, supplies for stations along the route, even bicycles, carefully secured so they do not roll around. The baggage car is not glamorous. No one books a ticket to ride in the baggage car. No one talks about the baggage car when they talk about their train journey. But it is essential. Without it, people could not bring the things they need. The mail would not get delivered. The stations would run out of supplies. It is one of those behind-the-scenes things that makes everything else possible. Like the locomotive, like the heating system, like the workers who maintain the tracks. Essential, but unseen. We all carry baggage, of course. Not just physical baggage, but emotional baggage, psychological baggage. The hurts and fears and regrets we carry with us from the past. The worries and anxieties we carry about the future. Sometimes that baggage feels heavy. Sometimes it feels like too much to carry. Sometimes we want to just leave it behind, get rid of it, travel light. But here's the thing about baggage. It is part of the journey. You cannot travel without it. Even if you leave your physical suitcase behind, you still carry your experiences, your memories, yourself. That is okay. That is normal. That is human. The key is not to let the baggage define you, not to let it weigh you down so much that you cannot move forward. The train carries your baggage so you do not have to. It puts it in the baggage car, out of sight, out of mind, and lets you sit in comfort while it transports everything. Maybe you can do the same with your emotional baggage. Acknowledge it, accept it, but put it away for now. Let something else carry it while you rest, while you breathe, while you find peace. The baggage will still be there when you arrive. You have not lost it. You have not denied it. You have just given yourself a break from carrying it for a while. And sometimes that break is exactly what you need. Let me tell you about the Sightseer Lounge car. It is in the middle of the train. A beautiful car with windows that wrap up into the ceiling, floor-to-ceiling glass on both sides. It is designed to give passengers the best possible view of the passing scenery. There are tables where you can sit and play cards, or work on a laptop, or just look out the window. There are lounge seats where you can recline and watch the world go by. There is usually a small selection of snacks and drinks for purchase. The Sightseer Lounge is a social space. People from different cars, different accommodations, different backgrounds, all come together here. They share the view. They share the experience. They share the journey. Some people spend hours in the Sightseer Lounge. They bring books or journals or cameras. They watch the landscapes unfold. They talk to fellow passengers. They make the lounge their second home for the duration of the journey. Other people never visit the sightseer lounge. They prefer to stay in their own space, their own roomette or seat. They prefer privacy to socializing. And that is okay too. The train accommodates everyone. But whether you visit the lounge or not, it is nice to know it is there. Nice to know that if you want company, if you want conversation, if you want to see the view from a different angle, the option exists. The door is always open. The windows are always there. The journey is always available to be shared. Let me tell you about the conductor who walked past your door earlier. He was making his rounds, checking tickets, answering questions, making sure everything was running smoothly. The conductor is responsible for everything that happens on the train, except actually driving it. He manages the crew. He manages the passengers. He deals with problems. He makes announcements. He makes decisions. It is a big responsibility. Hundreds of passengers traveling hundreds of miles, all depending on him to get them where they need to go, safely and on time. Freight trains to coordinate with, weather to monitor, schedules to keep. Some conductors have been doing this for decades. They know the route so well they could do it blindfolded. They know every station, every siding, every potential delay. They have seen everything. Blizzards and heat waves, mechanical problems and medical emergencies, happy celebrations and sad goodbyes. They handle it all with professionalism, with competence, with a kind of quiet authority that comes from knowing exactly what needs to be done and how to do it. The conductor on your train is one of those people who makes the world work, quietly, competently, without fanfare, just doing the job that needs to be done, keeping the train running, keeping the passengers safe, keeping the journey on track. We need more people like that, people who do important work without seeking glory, people who take pride in doing their job well, people who understand that showing up and being competent and caring about the outcome is enough, is valuable, is worthy of respect. The next time you see a conductor or a pilot or a bus driver or anyone else who is responsible for getting people from one place to another safely, take a moment to appreciate them, to thank them, to recognize the importance of what they do. They are carrying you, just like the train is carrying you, just like the engine is pulling you. They are essential to your journey, and they deserve your gratitude. Let me tell you about the stars one more time, because they are still there above the train, even though you cannot see them through your window right now. The star closest to us, other than the Sun, is Proxima Centauri. It is 4.24 light-years away. That means the light you see from it left that star 4.24 years ago. You are seeing the past. You are looking at something that is no longer exactly as it appears. All the stars you see are like that. You are looking at their past. Some of them might not even exist anymore. Some might have exploded in supernovae years ago, but their light has not reached us yet. We will see them die in the future, even though they died in the past. Time is strange like that, relative, flexible. What you see depends on where you are and when you are looking. There is no single objective now. There are only perspectives. On the train, time feels different, slower, more elastic. You have been traveling for almost 2 days, but it feels like longer. Or shorter. It is hard to say. The rhythm of the wheels, the changing landscapes, the meals and naps and conversations, they all blur together into something that is not quite time as we usually experience it. That is okay. That is part of the magic of train travel, that you get to step out of normal time for a while, to exist in train time, where the only thing that matters is the journey, where the only measurement is miles, not minutes, where the only goal is arrival, whenever that may be. Let me tell you one last thing about rest, about sleep, about letting go. Sleep researchers have found that one of the best ways to fall asleep is to stop trying to fall asleep. The harder you try, the more awake you become. The act of trying creates tension, and tension is the opposite of sleep. Instead, they suggest, just be. Just lie there. Just notice your breath. Just feel the weight of your body on the mattress. Just observe, without judgment, whatever thoughts arise, and let them drift away like clouds. Eventually, without effort, without trying, sleep will come. It always does. You just have to get out of its way. The same is true of rest, of peace, of contentment. You cannot force them. You cannot make them happen through sheer will. You can only create the conditions that allow them to arise naturally. And then you wait. You trust. You let go. The train creates those conditions. Gentle rocking, the rhythmic clicking, the warmth, the safety, the sense of being carried. All of these things together create an environment where rest can happen, where sleep can come, where peace can arise. You do not have to do anything. You just have to be here. Just have to accept what is offered. Just have to let go of trying and allow yourself to receive. That is hard for many of us. We are so used to doing, to trying, to making things happen. We forget how to receive, how to accept, how to simply be. But here, on this train, you can remember, you can practice, you can let the train carry you. Let the motion soothe you. Let the warmth hold you. Let the journey unfold without your effort. And in the morning, when you wake, you will be in Chicago. The journey will be complete, and you will have practiced something important, something you can take with you, the ability to let go, to trust, to rest. Good night, sleep well, and safe travels wherever your journey takes you next.